812 Superfast for you today, right before we kick off the weekend. I know I'm gonna have a good weekend with this car, but first we're gonna answer your questions in the live Q&A, and thank you so much for joining us today. First, we're gonna answer the questions from the folks on Instagram, so I posed the question on Instagram at MilesPerHr if you wanna follow me there. Get your questions in early there, or on YouTube's community page, I also posted it there, and then I answer those questions first. Christina, of course, is manning the camera, taking her time out of her day to make your days, to make my day, at least. Let's talk about the Ferrari 812 Superfast. What is our first question, Christina?
Okay, this or GT4 Lusso from Harsh29?
Harsh29, we're getting right into it. So asking whether I would prefer this over the Ferrari GTC4 Lusso. For those of you who don't know about the GTC4 Lusso, it is a 2+2 supercar, so it not only has the front two seats, it has a compartment for the rear two seats. Not a lot of leg room. That's kind of par for the course for supercars, 2+2 setups. But it also has two different engine options. This car is only offered with the V12. That car is offered with both a V8 and a V12. Both the V8 and V12 don't make as much power as this. And the 2+2 setup is obviously aimed at people who either want to bring along some kids because there's not a lot of leg room, or they want additional storage space. This car actually has a decent amount of cargo space. It's got 18 cubic feet of space in the trunk, and then you have a shelf back there. I think that may be combined in the trunk space. I can show you that actually. So would I prefer this and the performance of the 812 Superfast, kind of like Ferrari's Halo front engine, rear drive car right now? Well, I think I'd go with this. Because those rear seats are kind of useless in the GTC4 Lusso, I prefer the look of the 812 Superfast. Not sure if you can still hear me. I prefer the look of the 812 Superfast, and I actually prefer the look of the Ferrari FF, the car that preceded the GTC4 Lusso, more than the GTC4 Lusso, maybe even more than this car. So this is the cargo space back here. You've got this area, you lift this up, and it's pretty decent sized space back here, along with that shelf back there. You could carry quite a bit of baggage with you. So that is that first question. What is our next question, Christina?
Is this the last real Ferrari with an Italian soul from Blake S?
Good question, Blake. Is this the last real Ferrari with an Italian soul? I think that the point I think Blake is getting to is that this car is probably the last Ferrari we're going to see with a naturally aspirated V12 engine. The storied Ferraris that we've seen for so many years and kind of helped solidify the brand in enthusiast hearts have been powered by naturally aspirated V8 and V12 motors. That is going away. All Ferraris are going to be powered by twin turbo. The V12 may live on as a twin turbo, kind of as it does with Aston Martin, but it's either going to be V8 or V12 with twin turbos, and that does change the note, the exhaust note of the car. It changes some of the characteristics of the vehicle as well. Twin turbos are still, as they become more and more developed, they're still pretty smooth as powertrains go, but they mute the noise, the theater of the car quite a bit. I think that Ferrari isn't going to go away as in terms of like the passion that's there. This car is not going to be the last of, to your point, the last of the Italian soul Ferraris. There's still something in the DNA about the way that they handle and the attention to detail with the design and the interior makeup that makes it the Ferrari that enthusiasts should still know and love. Hope that answers your question well enough. All right, next question, Christina.
Most expensive option on the list from Blake S.
Another great question, Blake. So, if you don't know, Ferraris, yes, they have very high sticker prices. This car starts at about $338,000. But then you can buy a complete, Christina's face right now is great. She had no idea. And so you can actually add on a complete other very nice luxury vehicle just in options, as this one does. This car is now $417,000. So another very nice luxury vehicle in options, the most expensive of which to Blake's question, are these black painted forged alloy racing wheels, 20-inch wheels. They are almost $10,000. Almost 10 grand for a set of wheels. That's nuts. That's so ridiculous. Yeah, it's not quite a new car's worth of just wheels, but it's pretty close. What is the next question, Christina? I love that question.
Okay, best sounding V12, SVJ, DB11, or 812?
Or this. So, okay, who asked that question?
Blake again.
Yeah, Blake again. Okay, so he's saying, what sounds the best of the V12s? This, the Lamborghini Aventador SVJ, or the DBS Superleggera. So for those of you who don't know, DBS Superleggera has the twin turbo V12, and that kind of kills some of the exhaust volume. Aston Martins have always had this very recognizable exhaust note. I think that when they went to the twin turbos, they lost some of that. The DBS Superleggera is still such an amazing car, but the noise, this or, well, I mean, we're talking about noise. Let's fire it up. We know people are going to ask about it anyway, so.
They already did.
They already did, okay. Palpitations. Christina, what do we think?
Oh.
That's what happens if you have the key in your pocket, by the way. It's not frustrating at all. Anyway.
I didn't like standing
Christina didn't like
to the side of that.
To the side, yeah.
Really loud.
Not in the back, but to the side, still too loud.
Yeah, covered my face. But...
Okay, so that obviously sounds amazing. I hope you could hear that through the audio.
I think the homes
are upset probably. The excitement there of that V12 is real. Is it better than the Aventador SVJ? That's a great question. I love the Aventador SVJ. I think maybe if it was just sitting there and revving it, might be this car. Might be this car, because on the high end, as the pitch gets even higher, this is pretty sweet. But where the Aventador SVJ kind of sells me is the sound of the shift. The downshift, the upshift sounds like a laser is being fired. And that's the coolest thing in the world. If you haven't seen my review of the Aventador SVJ Roadster, please go see that just to hear the sound of that car. That may sell me, just that alone. The sound of the shift in that car may win me over in terms of exhaust noise. Next question. Great question, Blake.
Yay.
Yay.
Thoughts on its styling, particularly the side from Sean M.
Okay, what do I think about the styling, particularly the side profile? So back up.
Well, I'm just trying to see.
Looking at all the lines. There are a lot of lines. A lot of lines on this car. We've got side creases going down into the wheels. We've got some down below. We've got a top crease up here flowing into the window surrounds. A lot of lines on this car. There's even a bottom crease down here. So, what do I think of the profile? Another way that could be asked is it overdone? So, the long hood and rear drive proportion, the dash to axle ratio being as long as it is, that's a classic Ferrari design trait. And so I'm glad it is still live, carried on from the F12 just before this to this car. Before that, the 599. Before that, the 612. So yes, I am glad that the long hood, rear drive proportion is still a signature design trait of Ferraris. Do I think this is overdone? No. Somehow I do not. Even though there are all those lines, I think it just flows beautifully. Italians just know what they're doing in terms of design language, and this car is no exception. I think it's beautiful from the profile, from the front, from the back. I think it looks good.
Yeah, step aside.
Step aside.
Yeah, step aside.
Get out the way. What is our next question, Christina? While you're panning to the side.
Thoughts. Oh, you just did that. Horsepower from Gary T.
Horsepower. Horsepower in this car. I'm deciding whether I want to open the engine bay or not. It's going to be hot now that the engine's going, but I'll just do it. So for those of you who don't know, in a Ferrari, the engine release is not over here on the left-hand side to the front. It's right in the dead center, and you're going to see this red piece down here, hard to see. Okay, so you pull that, and that's going to release the trunk. And unlike BMWs, you don't like pull it twice and it releases the trunk. The hood, sorry. Thank you, Christina. You do have to go over here and find the release lever thing. Found it. There we go. Then you raise it up. Now you're looking at a Ferrari V12, 6.5 liter V12, and it makes 789 horsepower.
How much?
789 horsepower and 529 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 time is going to be 2.8 seconds. And the top speed, this is the kicker, the top speed is 211 miles an hour. And I know a lot of you are like, oh, whatever, McLaren 720S is faster. But it doesn't sound like this. And it doesn't have this giant freaking engine at the front of the car. McLaren 720S is going to be a tenth of a second faster to 60, have 1 mile per hour faster top speed, but it doesn't have a Ferrari engine. Specifically a V12 naturally aspirated engine. Thank you for that question, Gary T. What is our next one?
He also asked about horsepower, but you just talked about it.
Talked about horsepower, yes.
Well, that was the question.
That was the question.
Sorry, guys. How's the drivability from Iroko?
Good question. How is the drivability of the car? Is it daily drivable? Is the way I'm going to interpret that question. Definitely. It's comfortable. There is enough in terms of amenities, though some of them are very expensive. Apple CarPlay, almost $7,000. That option is almost $7,000. That's in terms of your daily drivability, comforts, conveniences. Apple CarPlay is $7,000. These seats, I think, are almost $5,000. They are very comfortable. They do have power adjustments, whereas you can get some other seats that are manually adjusted. But power adjustments here, they're called Daytona leather seats. Very comfortable seats. More importantly, the suspension system. So the standard suspension is good. It's a bit firm, but you press that button right there and it enters a bumpy ride mode. And that's going to soften up the suspension to a very reasonable level. This car becomes really compliant, very easy to daily drive, and you know, people who own this car also have even more comfortable cars to daily drive. But if they wanted to drive this in a pinch for a week or so, they wouldn't have any problem. What's our next question? And thank you for your patience, folks on YouTube. Again, getting through the folks on Instagram and YouTube Q&A page first because they asked their questions before the video started.
I think you already answered this, but the Aventador or 812?
Well, so
Hirofumi, oh no.
Yes, so Hirofumi asked a good question. Blake kind of asked this question comparing like DBS 812 and the Aventador SVJ. Hirofumi specifically asking about the Aventador versus this car. Both naturally aspirated V12 cars. This car makes more power. The Aventador is like 720, this 789. The Aventador, certainly more wildly designed. That's something that is just going to draw the eye more than this car. This car can almost blend in, especially in this Argentino, I think, no, cannot remember the color of the car. It's something Nurburgring, Argento Nurburgring. Silver. It's silver. This can kind of blend in the silver color. Aventador is never going to really blend in. So if you want more flash, you're going to go Aventador. If you want more power and acceleration and potentially substance, you're going to go 812 Superfast. Good question, Hirofumi. I think he has one more question for me. No, just kidding.
What's the difference between the 797 horsepower Challenger Red Eye and this? Oh, that is another question.
Okay, yeah, so Hirofumi asked another, and I thought this was a great question. So people see horsepower specs, and they're like, oh, everything's the same, right? The Challenger, even though it costs less than $100,000, the Red Eye makes 797 horsepower. This makes less power, it's 789. Why wouldn't I just go buy a Challenger for like hundreds of thousands less than this car. Well, that's because the Challenger is built to a budget. This car is built first and foremost to thrill its very extravagantly wealthy customers. The way they do that is with a naturally aspirated V12 that is so silky smooth. This is what it's hard to describe for folks who have not driven a V12 powered car. The way additional cylinders smooth out the power delivery to make it just buttery is incredible. So if you've only driven V8s, if you've only driven V6s or whatever, anything with fewer cylinders, you're going to note that there is just this, there's a sense of vibration. I'm struggling with the words here. Sense of vibration and a sense of chaos to the engine that a V12 doesn't have. It sounds kind of counterintuitive. More cylinders, you think more chaos. It's the opposite. So a silky smooth powertrain is most likely the most tangible difference you're going to see between this car and the Challenger. They're both going to make gobs of power. They're both going to be very quick to accelerate. This is going to be way faster, but it's going to be the power delivery, the smoothness, and the dual clutch 7-speed automatic in this is so good, both in terms of the fastest freaking shifts and shifts exactly when you want them, but also very smooth in terms of daily driving capability. You do not feel the difference between first, second, third, fourth gear. It just, the shifts without you even noticing in this car. Challenger, not as much. You're going to feel a little bit. Hope that answers your question. Great question here, Chloe.
Okay, too tame compared to the F12 TDF. Can't wait for the review from Gabe.
Gabe, I'm glad you're excited about the review. I will get the review up for this car, maybe a couple weeks because I've got some backlog content. But he asked if this car is too tame, which is interesting, and he relates it to the F12 TDF, the car that precedes this. That car made 760 horsepower, so a bit less than this, but was much more track focused. It had a more aggressive look, and it was less, I would call, daily drivable. So is this too tame? No, I would not say it's too tame. When you get on it, it reminds you every second of every second that you are driving a raucously powerful, exciting V12 supercar. But on the flip side, it is very daily drivable, as we just discussed, with the comforts and the suspension and all that. So I don't think it's too tame. I think it's kind of like just right. Does that make sense?
Okay.
All right, next question, and then I think we're just gonna have to drive it.
Yeah. Max RPM and sound from Grandma Shorted herself. We
already did the sound. I have to check. I think the max RPM.
People are probably gonna want to hear the sound.
It redlines at about 9,000 RPM. 9,000. That's great. Okay, I'll rev it one more time, and then we'll hit the road. Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, let's hit the road. Welcome aboard. Christina's going to get her seatbelt on, and then we're going to hit the road. This car is equipped with a front-end lift system, which I will definitely be using because I do not want to scrape up the front end. The way you start the car, the way you go into first gear, is just pulling this paddle. There's not going to be a drive button. There's not even a park button. The way you park it is you pull in both pedals at the same time, and then you can engage the e-brake over here on the left-hand side. But we are driving, so I pulled the first pedal, and away we go.
All right. Oh, it cut off some comments. So sorry if I don't get to it. I don't know why it does that.
Ask if you did not get your question answered, I will answer them. I answer every comment that is posed in the form of a question on my videos. So ask it in the comments and I will get to it if you don't see your question answered in this video.
All right. Latara wanted to hear the sound system.
The sound system. Okay, that's an interesting one because it is a JBL sound system that Ferrari they don't even list JBL in there. Maybe they just don't want to be associated with the brand, but they just call it high power sound system. It's a high power sound system and they cost $6,000. I don't know the specific number of speakers or the wattage. Christina needs an air.
A little.
Hopefully not too loud there. But we can hear the sound system. They did not give me Sirius XM radio, so. right, so that's half volume.
So we're not really a good sound
No, it's not the best sound system. Granted,
Yeah.
that is just general radio right there.
Yeah.
All right, so we will kick it into race mode here on the Manatino. Click it down a couple gears. And then go. Good Lord. Vicious.
Wow.
Vicious. When it gets above 6,000 RPM, it just tears into the asphalt. It's crazy. It's like modest, 6,000, unreal.
Okay. I think, which is better? The Aston Martin DBS, Superleggera,
Oh, jeez.
Coupe, or Ferrari 8?
Okay, we just answered that question,
Okay,
so we are good there.
Okay.
If you missed it, go check it out earlier in the video. Wait till the video ends, and
I'm
then go
just
and
getting
watch.
to the top questions, babe.
Okay.
Okay. How is this an actual Grand Tour?
How is it an actual Grand Tour? So I already addressed the matter of daily drivability. I find it to be very comfortable. Right now I'm in the normal setting. If I press this button, then it goes into bumpy road mode and it smoothens out quite a bit. So the suspension is going to be on the level of Grand Tour. The seats are very comfortable. I find them on the level of Grand Tour. The cargo capacity, you can see back there, we got the shelf, and then the trunk space, I think is on the level of Grand Tour, and that's kind of what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be very fast, it's supposed to be very comfortable, and spacious. And so I think this checks all those boxes and makes it Grand Tour worthy.
Okay. How does the short gearing affect extended highway driving, from Tim Robinson?
The effect you're going to notice is that there is going to be a bit of wail. You're going to hear the engine because it's going to sit at about, if you're doing 75, 80, it's going to sit about just above 3,500 RPM. And so you will hear the engine at all times. It's not going to ever go to be something quiet. So that's probably going to be the one thing you're going to notice on extended highway driving. It does quickly get you to that 7th gear. Even if you're in race mode, it will quickly get you to that 7th gear to maximize fuel economy.
Okay.
Oh, I thought I was going to get a chance to do launch mode, but
Can you show, please, the passenger display and what can you see on it? I already just showed it.
you just showed it.
And then-
Yeah, but there's different things you can do on there. Check out. You can go to navigation. You can change the media on there, and then you can get the performance button and see the speed that I'm doing, and see what gear I'm in, and then you can even check the G-force. There would be pulling in corners, and then if you don't have to hit that. It just shows the G-force,
Okay.
and then if you go back here and go to the right, the VDA. It's the Manatino. It shows you what mode I'm in and what settings are equipped with that drive mode. So I'm in race right now, but I can go to sport. This car does not have a normal mode. It's just wet, sport, and race, and then traction control off.
Okay.
So this is like going over some bumpier stuff, but I have the suspension in a more compliant setting. Turn signals are here on the steering wheel. Everything is on the steering wheel, including the volume for the infotainment. It's on the back of the steering wheel. And how you go through these different modes is on the back of the steering wheel, or you can use this drive selector here.
Okay. From Ducks Are Awesome, would you consider this better than the F12? F12?
I have not, I got to admit, I have not driven the F12. From a numerical, empirical standpoint, it is better. I'm gonna probably assume from a compliance standpoint, depending on a set of corners here. Added an auto mode. I should have added a manual, so I wasn't too high in a gear right there. But I'm gonna think it's probably better than the F12. Every year they're gonna refine something, and even though it is a completely new vehicle, it's just going to be an improvement over the F12. I think in every way. I think stylistically it's an improvement as well. Like the design.
From Sam Flores, do you think this car is worth the price? $412,000 sounds a little overpriced.
It's a lot of money. But you have to think, if you're considering this or an Aventador, this is going to give you more of a daily driver experience than that car. More power, than the standard 720S, and I think in that way it's a good value. However, there are going to be cars like the McLaren 720S that are going to start a little less than this, that starts at $299 for the 720S. That's going to offer you even more performance, but not more practicality. This car is more practical than that car, and the 720S is very daily drivable, but I would say this is probably more daily drivable. I don't think it's overpriced. I think if you go crazy with the options, which honestly it's hard not to if you want certain things in this car, you probably keep the options to maybe $60,000, and if you're staying just under $400,000, I think it's more of a value. Again, I'm talking about monopoly money here. I do not have this kind of money, but if I did, I could conceivably see this as not exceedingly overpriced for what you're getting.
Okay. From Sam Sharma, is this the color you'd pick? Red seats might work better with the silver exterior.
I agree with you. This is not the color combo I would choose. Silver looks good, but with red seats, I'm with you, man. I think that's better.
Okay.
The grip in corners is crazy good.
Okay. Can you rev the engine? We already did. What is
Did
the
that.
price? We said it. Do you want to say it again?
Starting price $338,000. The as tested price is like $417, I think.
Okay.
Over $4. It's a lot.
From I'm Derbizoid, is it possible to twin turbo this car? And if so, how much power and how fast?
I wouldn't
my
want
gosh.
to. I would
How
not
fast
want
do you
to.
think it could go?
I'm sure you could twin turbo it. I think there are probably already some aftermarket tuners that have done things like that. I would not want to do that. It is plenty fast for me. If you need more power than this, then I would check yourself. I don't know what
you're doing.
What are you doing that you need more power than this? Because it's ridiculously fast, especially from a mid-range. 0 to 60 is also like stupid fast, but yeah, you could twin turbo it. I'm sure.
From Milt, how is the stiffness of the wheel?
So like the steering wheel, how much rigidity am I getting? How much resistance am I getting in the wheel? Not a crazy amount. It is an electronically assisted rack, and so it's not like a manual rack where you're having to fight so hard. They don't overboost it. They don't need to. The steering feedback is really, really good through this wheel. Very much giving you as manual a feel of the wheel as possible with electronic assistance. But I do not feel like it's overboosted, over resistance. I'm good with it.
Okay. Why is it sunny in California and not in Dallas? Can't help me there.
Can't help you there. Move to California. We don't, because it's already so expensive to live here.
Okay. I can't see. Okay. Can you save this video from Jay Prez? He will. He'll post it.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, the video will automatically post after the live Q&A.
How you open the gas tank from Chris Plays. Well,
we're inside the car. There's not a button to open the gas tank. All you do is just press on the fuel door, and it will open right up for you.
What's the fuel mileage on the Ferrari 812 Superfast?
So bad. So bad. 12 city, 16 highway, like 14 or 13 combined. It's something awful. It's something really, really bad. Yeah, it's pretty terrible. This and the Aventador both get awful fuel economy. It's what you get with naturally high displacement, naturally aspirated V12s. You're not going to get great fuel economy. That's why everyone wants to go twin turbo, reduce the emissions, and you get better fuel economy.
All right. Lucky Sensei, he already answered that. Sorry, do you like the SVJ better than this?
Yep, go check that out earlier in the video.
Okay, hey from Daddy. So, hi.
Hello.
Wow. Oh, sorry. Now I'm just reading comments. Wow, this is a beautiful car. Okay.
Agreed.
Do you like the SVJ better than this? You already answered that too.
That question.
How do you get all these cars from Rich Evangelista?
Great plug for us getting to 100,000 subscribers. We're cranking. We're getting close. almost to 90, and then we'll be that last little sprint to get to 100. Because when we get there, I will give you a full briefing on how I got this job, how you could do it too if you wanted to. It's not easy, you gotta do a lot of work, but how in theory you could get this job. So I will go into all that and how I get these cars. But yeah, so that we gotta wait till we get to 100,000 subscribers for that to happen.
How do you like the virtual short wheelbase from Tim Robinson?
The virtual short wheelbase. I'm not sure what you mean. I don't think it has rear wheel steering. No, it does. It does have four wheel steering. Yes. Okay, I made a mistake. So that is what virtually shortens up the wheelbase, is going to give you a better turning radius, and it's going to give you more plantedness at speed, is having the rear wheels steer either in the same direction as the car. That's going to be at higher speeds, or opposite direction. That's going to be at lower speeds. It's going to reduce your turning radius. I forgot this car had all-wheel steering. I like it. I like it a lot. It feels good in the corners, and certainly being able to go through a parking lot easier is helpful. Next question.
All right, it's kind of winding down, and I'm having trouble.
Christina's having trouble. Even though the suspension isn't that bad, it's still, it wears on you after a while. Man, I kept hoping we'd get a red light for me to do launch control, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen.
Is it in your review? POV drive.
It will be. It will be. When I do a POV, and Christina's done. She's like, they can watch the review. They can watch the POV drive. Yes, I will have a POV day drive, POV night drive, walk around, and then have a review for this car.
Guys, a pregnant woman doing launch control is not.
Keep lagging, hoping we'll hit, but no, not going to hit it.
Oh my gosh. Okay. How is the interior material quality from Sam Sharma?
Excellent. I find that all the materials are pretty high quality. The only complaint here are these very plastic feeling air vents. They're really cool. They look like turbines. That's awesome. But the material feels a little plasticky. Everything else, very high quality, good materials. This is probably number 2 on the slight complaints. It feels a bit cheaper plastic, but all the leather is superb. Superb feeling leather. Oh, I don't have it on. That softened up the suspension. I was like, why is it so bumpy? I was just raising the suspension. Now it's softer.
How sensitive are the brakes from Arish?
Not too sensitive. I find that they have good bite and a strong feel, but they're not touchy. So when I go to the brake, it's not like the second I go to the brake, it like slams the car to a brake. No, it doesn't do that. You have to get a little deeper into the pedal for it to actually slow the car down. But when you do slow it down, it really slows it down. These do have carbon ceramic brakes, so they are resistant to heat buildup, and they lengthen the pad life of the car. I think we're going to be wrapping up here. Christina is very much done, and we
it's okay.
we can get
it's the Ferrari Fast from 392.
The Ferrari is fast. That sounds like oh man, I might be able to get this late. That sounds like a philosophical question. Ooh, the GTR. Look at that.
Okay. This is also going to be really hard for you to answer. This or a Camry?
I just choose not to answer that. I might be able to end this with some launch control. All right, so I'm in race mode. I need to go to turn the traction control system off. Hold that for 2 seconds. Press the auto button to put it into manual mode. Then press the PS, which is power start mode. When the car is on, power start is on, foot on the brake, throttle it, and we're done. Oh my gosh. It actually stepped out a little there. That's crazy. That's crazy. It tried to put the power down, but it's so much idiot. Like, what it does is it just lightly feeds out the power in the first, second to a second and a half, and then it goes for it. But when it went for it, it still didn't have the traction. I think the road surface was not ideal, so I'm not going to blame the car for that. It was very bumpy there, and the road surface was not perfect. Yeah, they wanted to step out a little bit. That's interesting.
There are a few more questions.
All right, last couple questions here, and then if I don't get to your questions, I'm sorry. Just post them in the comments, and I will get to them. I promise.
From Noel, what would you say is the best Grand Tour out there?
Oh man. I really like the new Bentley Continental as a Grand Tour, as just like smooth, fast, comfortable. That might be my pick. The DBS is good, but I don't think the interior is up to snuff for the price that they're charging for that car. Love the way it looks on the outside, love the power, but I don't think the interior is up to snuff. The Bentley might be my favorite GT car in terms of like overall creature comforts and power. I don't like the look quite as much as I do certainly of this car or of the DBS.
Okay, do you get a lot of people staring at you in this from Sam Sharma?
I've had it for approximately 7 hours, and
Not really.
no, that's weird to say. Yeah, not really. Not a ton of people look. Granted, I am in Orange County, and I was driving near Newport, and you know, some very high wealth areas. So lots of very expensive cars people see all the time. But the silver really subdues this car's look quite a bit. People who know do look. It's not like I didn't get looks. I just didn't get sort of like slack-jawed, like open-mouth looks that you get in some supercars, like the McLaren 720S or the Aventador. That's what you kind of see in those cars. Even though people see them all the time, they're still just like, whoa, an Aventador. It's wild. This doesn't get that, but I think for the folks who don't want all that crazy attention, this is gonna be the right car for them. All right, last couple questions. No, I think we're gonna probably end it there, guys. Thank you so much for participating in this live Q&A. I'm glad you guys like this car. I like this car quite a bit, and like I said, I will have a POV day drive, POV night drive, walk around, and review for this car coming soon. If you haven't subscribed yet, you're still watching, please hit that subscribe button. It would really help me out, and then you'll get access to those daily videos. So it's good for you. And the bell for notifications. Christina knows the drill. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.
Well, he's making it happen.
What is?
Making it happen.
Oh gosh, I was confused what was happening to my face.
Bringing you the cars you want.
Oh, there you go.
Okay, goodbye.
We're gonna come up with a jingle soon.